Hariam everyone, welcome to this class on Kathopnishad. Let's start with the chanting. I'll chant at my end while you can chant at your end. We'll start with the Shanti part. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gananam Tva Ganpatigam Havamahi Kavim Kavinam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Trinvanutibhi Sidhu Sadhanam. Om Shri Mahaganpataye Namaha. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, so we are starting this class on Kathopnishad. This is the ninth class, I think, in series. So we have been looking at the first part, which we have completed, Pratham Adhyay, Pratham Valli, the first chapter, part one. And the second part, we are into the 10th mantra by now. We have finished 10 completely, and we have one more. So we are into the 11th one for today. So I'll just quickly read the last mantra. We'll explain that and then we'll come back to where we left off from the 11th. The 10th mantra. Janamyaham shevadhiritya nityam nahi dhruvai prapyate hi dhruvam tato maya nachiketas chitognihi anitye dravye praptavanasmi nityam. Once more. Janamyaham shevadhiritya nityam nahi dhruve prapyate hi dhruvam tato maya nachiketas chitognihi anitya dravye praptavanasmi nityam. So this one we have seen earlier, Shevadhi iti anityam. Shevadhi is basically we call go down a warehouse or place for storage, or it's in another sense in the Nirukt we have seen, it also stands for Sukham. It also stands for the Karmashaya, the whole collection of our karmas. So he says, I know that these karmas or their fruits or their results, they are not very permanent, impermanent. So I know that these are impermanent, and there is also the rule that the dhruv cannot be whatever is immobile, whatever is permanent cannot be attained by things that are not permanent. He knows that rule, but still by this Nachiketa Agni, I have used this Anitya Dravya to gain that Nityam. So here Yamaraja is saying that even by using the mortal objects or the impermanent objects, I have attained the immortal. How? Because ultimately we have to go through the mind. The mind itself is non-eternal, right? And through mind, we get this understanding of the eternal, and then we finally drop off the mind. So that in that way, he says, Tato Maya Nachiketos Chitogni. What process I have used? The Nachiketa Agni. By purifying myself using yajna, using the process of sacrifice, I have purified myself so that my mind and my internal organs are receptive of that higher knowledge, that knowledge which is not available for the person who's involved in the world. So for that, that is why the meaning here is what? That by using worldly methods, like we attain anything through karma, and anything worldly we attain through action. We do some action, we get the karma phala. But that is not a result of an action. I can purify my mind, but ultimately it has to come through knowledge, right? So the knowledge will reveal. It's not something that is attained. It is something that is revealed. right? So, like in Atma Bodh, we saw that there is the shloka where it is described that someone has lost his necklace and then it has actually gone onto the backside. So, a person points out, please see, it's still there. So, he has not given you the necklace, he has revealed that you have that necklace, it's there with you, or rather, it was there with you all the time. So, that is the way Atma Jnanam or knowledge is revealed. So, by using impermanent means, the permanent can be attained, but in a way that revealed. It is not. So it is not attained, it is revealed. Sanjay ji is asking, you said it's not dash. So it is not something that you attain something. कुछ मिल नहीं जाता है. आपको पता चल जाता है कि आपके पास है. You already have it. That is the work of knowledge. Through knowledge, you attain something that is already there with you, right? Someone can point through with knowledge, but through action or karma, you attain something that is outside of you, and that you have to work to attain. So in this way, this we discussed in full detail, so we'll move on to the next mantra. So now we are into the 11th. Kamasya, sorry. कामस्य आप्तिं जगतः प्रतिष्ठां क्रतोरानन्त्यम् अभयस्य पारं स्तोमं महदुरुगायं प्रतिष्ठां दृष्ट्वा धृत्या धीरो नचिकेतोऽत्यसाक्षिः कामस्य आप्तिं जगतः प्रतिष्ठां क्रतोरानन्त्यम् अभयस्य पारं स्तोमं महदुरुगायं प्रतिष्ठां दृष्ट्वा धृत्या धीरो नचिकेतोऽत्यसाक्षिः. So kamasya aptim jagat pratishtha, this whole world, it is sustained by or it is run by action. Kamasya aptim, by kamana. The fulfillment of desire is the substratum of this world. Without desire, this world will perish. Because in this world, whatever objects are there, it is said there are two kinds of creation. One is the Maya of Ishvara, Ishvara Maya. What is Ishvara Maya? The objects he creates for us, which are for the fulfillment of our previous karma. Right? That is that we call Ishvara Srishti. And then there is the Jiva Srishti. What is the Jiva Srishti? Jiva Srishti represents the attachments that we form to the different objects of the universe. All these are to we it's there in Panchadasi. It's discussed in great detail what is the Jeev Srishti and what is the Ishvara Srishti, what is the difference between them. But simply put, what is Jeev Srishti? It is something that is within our control, something that we can, manage and give up our attachments to the objects to raise ourselves to that higher knowledge. So, that kamasya aptim, which is here it is said, all the desires, they are the foundation of this world. But if we have to go beyond the world, we have to go beyond desire. Right. So in this way, the Ishwar Srishti is the whole world. This will go, this will remain always. So when we go, this world will also disappear. But it will continue for the other people, other jivas, because they have to still realize their nature, right? So if someone is Jivan Muktaha, he will leave this world and never be born again, but this world will continue. It is what we call Pravahi Nityam, something that is eternally flowing, right? It is not eternal in the sense that it is unchanging, because that is the main definition that we use for something that is eternal, but it is eternal in the sense that something that is constantly in a state of flux or flow. So these kamnas, they are the foundation of this world. Kratur anantyam abhayasya param. So kratoho represents in a way action, but it also represents yajna. Kratoho. So kratoho anantyam. This yajna is able to give you unlimited or almost we can say endless rewards. There are so many endless rewards of this kratoho. So unchanging and constantly in flux mean the same. No, they're not the same. Unchanging is something there is no change. Constantly in flux, constantly changing. They are the reverse. So krator anantyam abhayasya param. So this the yajna that he taught Yamaraja taught to Nachiketas, by which he can gain so many heavenly fruits. So also worldly fruits. So whenever we do a yajna, what we do? We do a sankalpa. हम एक संकल्प करते हैं. We do a sankalpa by which we pray for the fruitfulness of an action that we are about to do. Right. So when we make this sankalpa, then this action that we are about to do, this karma that we are about to do, will be attained in its will be fulfilled, we can say. So this fulfillment, as we saw in Purush Sukta also on Sunday, that this is dependent on two factors. It is dependent on the first factor is my own ability or my capacity to do action and to take it to the level of fruition, to take it to the level where we can get the fruit of that action, right? So there my own effort is involved. But then further, there are the actions that we call, what we call are the nishkam karma, the actions that we do as help to others, or we can say as a duty to the universe. So that we saw Pancha Mahayagya, the five duties that we have to our pitars, to our rishis, to our atithi, to the jivatmas around our bhutas, and finally the uh, nature around us, right? All the jivatmas and the jad prakriti. So whatever we do to them, that is our duty. When we do to that, the devatas become what we call benevolently inclined toward us. That when they see that we are doing our duty to protect the nature, to live in with the flow of nature, when this when we let ourselves go along with the flow of nature, we don't destroy the flow of nature, then the devatas are happy. And then when we do a yajna, they are there to give their blessings. So the bank balance of punyam that you have accumulated, that you can spend for the completion of your job. So now what will happen? We say dev. Dev means what? Fate. Fate will be pleasantly disposed towards you. The obstacles that were supposed to come in the way of your job, they will become less or they will disappear. Right? So kratoho anantyam, though through these yajnams we can attain unlimited amounts of objects of the world, or unlimited desires we can accumulate. Then stomam mahad urugayam pratistam. Stomam is the stuti we do to all the Vedic stutis that we do for bringing the higher powers into our life. Whenever we do a japa, whenever we do a puja part at our home, all these things. They bring those devatas into our life in a constant stream, right? We have this in our Hindu dharma, we have this morning rituals where we do this arti, right? We light the fire. So that is a symbol of how we are invoking the light of that diya into our daily life. So these in the Vedas, we have a lot of stutis, tomam, mahad, huge, big ones. They attain for us very big fruits. So these are sung in the Vedas, and once these are used, they are also used to attain many higher worlds, higher lokas. They are also attainable to us, of course, with the condition that we have the punyam to go get them. So all of these I have tempted you with is what Yamaraja is saying. Huh? So while being tempted or being not tempted, rather we should say, still what has happened? Drashtva dhritya dhiraha nachiketo atyasrakshi. Even after seeing them, drishtva, even after seeing all these pleasures, they were there, they were yours for the asking. I had offered them to you, dhritya, but you held strong, right? We have so many enticements when we go through our daily routine, and whenever those enticements come, we forget our duty. And we said, let me enjoy for a while. But then, while enjoying for a while, we don't know how much time has gone by in indulging our video game, our mobile, or sport, or whatever we are doing. So, that dhriti is not there. No, that power of control, that power of holding that knowledge within us, ourselves is not there. So we saw for the three parts of pragya. So in our systems, knowledge is not just knowing. No, it's not a fact that has been revealed to you. Huh? So knowledge or pragya has three parts we saw. Pragya has dhi, dhriti, smriti, huh? Or you can say gyan, dhriti, smriti. So dhi is just the knowledge itself, which is revealed to you by a shastram, a knowledge that is revealed to you by a guru, and so on. So once this knowledge is revealed, you have to be able to remember it. Smriti. It should be available to you when the knowledge has to be, knowledge is needed, right? And then finally, Dhritya. You should be able to hold on to that knowledge. It should become part of you. It should become part of your nature, right? So these things we saw. So here, Yamaraja is saying what? Nachiketa, you have these. Dhritya Dhiro, you are dheer, you are very patient, and you have this capacity to hold the knowledge that I have given you so far. Right? So far he has given what knowledge? He has given the knowledge of Yajna. And also he has revealed in part that there are higher lokas and there are also people who don't believe in them. They come back to this earth again and again. Right? We saw it earlier. So this routine of the people around us is being described as firstly the kind that don't believe in the higher lokas. They will keep coming to this earth again and again, and then those who believe in the higher lokas, they will through their karmas attain those higher lokas, and then finally those who don't want them, they will go for the highest fruit, which is moksha, so which will come later. So drishtva dhira ditya dhiro nachiketah Attisrakshi, Attis, you have rejected them. You have given them up. You have not been enticed by them. So this, yes, all the efforts that he has made to tempt or somehow, divert the attention of Nachiketa, that has been done here. So here we are coming to another part of the temptation, which is so subtle, most of us will not notice it. What is that? Nachiketa will reply to that also. So that thing is that one way of hitting our ego, right, is first one is the negative one, a second one is the positive one, right? So what is the negative one? The negative one is one in which something that is something that is criticized within us. A lot of people, us know, whenever we are on a spiritual pursuit, small criticism and we drop that pursuit. Any small we call difficulty in the path, and we give it up. So that is not good for a spiritual seeker. He has to have this power of holding on to this path, right? So that is the what we call negative reaffirmment. So we should, the teacher tries to ensure that that negative thing is not held on to. So with for that he gave him the pralobanams, all the different kinds of gifts. And the second is the positive reinforcement. Sometimes when we get too much praise, बहुत ज्यादा प्रशंसा हो जाती है ना, too much praise, we our ego starts to swell. We think, oh, I'm so knowledgeable. I already know so much. I know more than enough for now, so it is enough for me. So with that praise also we tend to get diverted from our path. So here he is trying this thing also. Of course his he part of it is his genuine appreciation for Nachiketa, that is not there. And I said one more point. What is that? Is that this praise is eliciting or describing the qualities that Nachiketa has, so that we can develop within ourselves, right? So Shruti is telling us, the Veda or this Upanishad is telling us that these are the things that you have to develop within yourselves. We saw the Adhikari Prakaran, the how we become Adhikari for that knowledge. So in this way, Kamasya Aptim, whatever kamnas are there in the world, they hold up this world, and also through yajna we can go to more higher attainments, and then through stuti also we can take on to the devtas, invoke them in our lives. They give us so many other attainments, like so many siddhis we get whenever we do. So we see in the different yoga sutras also, and we've seen in even in Hanuman Chalisa there is mention of the Ashta Siddhi Navnidhi ke Data. So 8 siddhis. So all those siddhis. So how to become sukshma, how to become large, all those are there. So these siddhis are attained by making these higher powers happier through chanting their name or through invoking them in different forms. So all these Nachiketa has let go of in a single-minded pursuit of that question which is seeking, the answer to which is seeking, what is the nature of the soul, or rather, what happens to us after death? Do we still exist or do we not? And if we exist, what is the nature of that existence? That is what he seeks to know. So now he is telling about how tough this knowledge is, huh? And what are the benefits of this knowledge. So we are looking at the 12th month. तं दुर्दशं गूढमनुप्रविष्टं गुहाहितं गह्वरेष्ठं पुराणम् अध्यात्मयोगाधिगमेन देवं मत्वा धीरो हर्षशोकौ जहाति तं दुर्दशं गूढमनुप्रविष्टं गुहाहितं गह्वरेष्ठं पुराणम् अध्यात्मयोगाधिगमेन देवं मत्वा धीरो हर्षशोकौ जहाति. So he's saying that knowledge of the soul, that Atma Jnanam which we are looking for is very, very tough to comprehend. Tam durdarsham, sorry. So durdarsham, difficult to see, difficult to attain, difficult to grasp. And Gudam, it is very, very secret. It is hidden beneath the different curtains. Anupravishtam, it is located deep into my Guha Hitam Guha is a cave, right? So usually in the spiritual text, the Guha is the Hriday Guha, the heart. So within the heart, the inner recesses of the heart, what is the heart? The heart is the center of expression of the consciousness. Consciousness is everywhere, but it is described in the Shastras that is the center through which the consciousness expresses itself. So that is where it is hidden. Guhahitam. So, if I don't know how many people have ever been to a death, and there when you pick up the asthia, so there is what we call a atmaram. There is a triangular kind of piece of the bone in which it is said that this Atma resides. It is the size of a thumb. Angushta matram, it is said. It also comes up in different texts. So that Guha Hitam, that inner cave of the heart where it is situated, why it is said inner? Because our attention doesn't go there. Consciousness is ever available to us, but it is not, it is hidden from our view because of our attention is on the instruments through which we are functioning, the body, mind, intellect. So Swami Chinmayanand ji used to say BMI, body, mind, intellect, and then PFT, perceiver, feeler, thinker. These are the six we identify with. I think of myself as the body. I think of myself as the mind. I think of myself as the intellect. Or action-wise, I think of myself as the perceiver. I think of myself as the thinker. I am thinking. And perceiver, feeler, thinker. These are the ways I perceive myself. But myself is what? I am beyond any of these conditionings. These are merely conditionings which are hiding my true nature. So Guha Hitam and Gavvareshtam Puranam. So Gavvareshtam, if you see here, it is the description is given here as संसार रूप गहन वन में रहने वाला. Other places, it is mentioned as Gavarishtam is soaked in misery. That is said. But actually, Gavarishtam means what? It means basically in Hindi, what we say, gadda, a hole in the ground, right? So something that is that is hidden in the depths. That is Gavarishtam. So that knowledge is hidden within the depths of our consciousness, or within the depths of our what we call the Karan Shariram, the causal body, or the Sukshma Shariram. It is hidden within those depths. So my inner thoughts, they are masking that consciousness. Gavvarishtam and Puranam. Puranam, Sada Navam Pura Api. It something that exists from times immemorial, starting from the beginning of time itself. So that is Puranam. So Puranam, it exists from that time itself, and still it is new. Pura Api Navaiti. So this Puranam represents that it is something that has no beginning, right? And then how is it revealed? Adhyatma Yoga Adhigamena Devam. So Adhyatma Yoga, by the knowledge of the soul, by Adhyatma Yoga, is also it also represents in a key way sadhana. When I connect with my inner self. So in other places, it is mentioned Adhyatma Yoga is said to be like Gyan Marg, Gyan Sadhana, right? So in the all are different names of the same process. So the scientific means to realize the self is called Adhyatma Yoga, you can say. So it is a process of meditation on the self, by which meditation the self is revealed, and as revealed as what? As a deva. Deva is what? Something that shines. Yeah. So it has a light of its own. It does not need something outside of itself to illuminate it. So by Adhyatma Yoga, this knowledge has to be revealed, or this knowledge can be revealed. And Matva Dhiro, Harsha Shoko Jahati. Harsha Shoko is the samas, so representing Harsha and Shok, the two dvandas. It represents, it is symbolic of all the dvandas. What are dvandas? The positives and negatives, the ups and downs of life. So that represents the outer problems of life, like heat and cold and the other extremes, and the inner extremes, the joy and sorrow, right? So whoever meditates on that, matva dhiraha, the dhir purush, the one who is really able to hold on to this knowledge. So whoever meditates on this, harsha shokau jahati, he gives up all joys and sorrows. He is neither elated very much, nor he is buried down in his sorrows very much whenever situations come to this person in the world, because he sees them as merely fluctuations in that eternal principle, fluctuations of time, fluctuations of place, and so on. So these are merely something that are impermanent. Abhi hai, kal nahi hoga. So he is not worried about them. He is able to bear them with more forbearance. He is not disturbed by them. So whenever a person knows about his true nature, that nature which is infinite, that nature is which is of the form of consciousness, then that becomes what we can say a spiritual joy, as you are saying. So spiritual, it is the joy of knowing my infinite nature. When I know I am infinite, nothing is outside of me left to attain. So therefore I cease to struggle. I stop struggling. So I leave aside harsha shoko jahati. I drop them. I end them off. And so in this way, I am able to go beyond the limitations of all these harshas and shokas that are there in the normal life of a person. So when we are in our normal human situations, then through these situations we are always caught up in the joys and sorrows of our daily existence. There are so many situations that come in our life which bring us all these ups and downs, right? Something good comes, we are in a state of joy, and so then what happens? We, for a normal person, we forget, we are so caught up in that joy, or we are so caught up in the sorrow, we forget a lot of other things, right? So you would have seen a lot of people, who are like, whenever there is a person who's organizing a show, that person is not worried, that overall he's not worried too much by whatever is happening around him, right? So whenever this person is able to sorry visualize a situation before him, he is able to manage it very well. Like even in the case of death, there is some person who is looking after everything. Some people are caught up in the sorrow, but there are some people who are always perfect in all the arrangements. Such are the people who are, we say, of Manabuddhi. Their mind and intellect are very much in their control, right? So in this way, such people are able to control the ups and downs of their life. So what is the person here? That person is someone who has this spiritual knowledge, or someone who has ga- gained the knowledge of Adhyatma Yoga, who has gained the knowledge of the soul. So here, what are the two key points? That this knowledge is difficult to be revealed. It is hidden within the layers. And also, once the person who has to whom this knowledge is revealed, he is able to go beyond the normal joys and sorrows of this world. So one small point here, guha hitam gavarishtam purana. So here what is being said is the that atma is hidden within our own inner essence, right? It is hidden within our what we call the panch koshas. The five koshas are the five layers of our personality. The five layers of our personality. So the annamay kosh, the pranamay kosh, the manomay kosh, the vijnanamay kosh, and the anandamay kosh. So these are the five koshas, the layers of our personality to which we identify with them. I am Annamaya Kosh. I am the one who is eating all the food. So I am the body. And then the Manomaya Kosh. I am the mind along with the sense organs. The Vijnanamaya Kosh. I am the Buddhi with the five sense organs. The Pranamaya Kosh. I am the life force within me. And the Anandamaya Kosh. I am the experiencer of joy. Uh, so in this way, all of these I identify myself. And what happens? My focus is not there, or my attention is diverted from the Atma. But that does not mean the Atma is not there. It is ever available, right? So how is the Atma hidden? It is hidden in the same way we say as the wave is hiding the water. We say a huge wave and we call it a wave. But what is it actually? It is a water only. It's simply water, right? So we don't see the water, we see the wave, right? Or we, if there is mud, so mud we can make different pots and so on. So my vision is there on the pot, or on the whatever utensil, whatever form it has been given, but not on the mud, even though it's right in front of my eyes. The same way, Atma is right in front of my eyes, yet I fail to turn my attention inwards. There is a saying, Brahmaji has made our sense organs diseased by turning them outside, no, outwards. So they are always directed outwards. That is why we are unable to see the most obvious, simple process of looking at my inner essence, my inner nature, which is that of the Atma. Right. So in this way, uh, here it is said how a person of uh, realization, or person who has known this inner Atma, he is able to move beyond the limitations of the world. Because sorrow and joy, they are both limitations. They are both limitations. So we go on to the next one. एतत् श्रुत्वा सम्परिगृह्य मर्त्यः प्रव्रीय धर्म्यम् अनुमेतमाप्य स मोदते मोदनीयं हि लब्ध्वा विवृत्तसद्मं नचिकेतः सम्मन्ये एतत् श्रुत्वा सम्परिगृह्य मर्त्यः प्रव्रीय धर्म्यम् अनुमेतमाप्य स मोदते मोदनीयं हि लब्ध्वा विवृत्तसद्म नचिकेतः सम्मन्ये. So the process. What is the process of this knowledge? Etat Shrutva. Some parigrihya martya. Martya is human beings, people, us, right? So, how do we gain this knowledge? What is the process of this knowledge? Etat Shrutva. First, we have to listen to this knowledge, right? We read it from a Shastra, or we listen to it from a Guru, understand it from a teacher. And so, Etat Shrutva. The process of Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan is described here. So we first listen to that knowledge, and then samparigrihya. Griya is to grasp, to hold, to completely hold or gain a full understanding. Some parigrah. Some means samyak, total. Parigrah, pari means all around. So gaining a total all around view of this knowledge. Some parigrahya martya. So all of this, all of us, we are maran dharma. We have a body that will die. So we are martya. So for this human being, the martya manushya, the process of gaining this knowledge has to go through the process of etat shrutva samparigrahya. First, we have to listen to this, then we have to completely understand this or mananam. And then pravriye dharmyam anumetam apya. Pravriye, finally, pravriye means to turn it into action. Make it your own. Dharmyam, that knowledge. Dharma has many meanings, but here it represents the nature of the substance, and so that nature of what? Something on which the nature of everything depends, the ultimate dharma. What is the ultimate dharma? Atma. So dharmyam anumetam apya. Anum etam apya. So this knowledge is anu, very very sukshma, right? So this, in simple sense, if we look at it in the general understanding of we have of objects, anu means small, right? So does this mean small? No, this means sukshma. So I explained to you the difference between sukshma and small. So something that is small in size, we say chota ya bada, small and big. But atma or anything else that is at the subtle level is something that we call subtle. When it becomes subtle, it has more area. So whenever some substance approaches a size that is beyond the size of the visible spectrum, something that we can see, then it becomes sukshma, right? So then slowly that object becomes smaller and smaller to us in the visible eye, but it becomes more and more pervasive. Occupies more and more pervasive. Finally, at the limiting point is when its size becomes zero, and at that point, that object will actually become infinite. Or what? Or how infinite? It will become one with that whole infinite being or that infinite essence of the universe. It will become one with that. So that is how it happens. Just like I explained in, if we burn something, it will spread out so quickly it will spread out, and we will be able to experience it from a great distance. That small mirchi or that small chili, if you burn it, it will burn the eyes of all the people in a huge room also. So it becomes sukshma. We make it subtle. So sukshma represents attaining that limit where something becomes more and more subtle. So we'll see about Brahman also, or Brahm also later on, that his condition is what? He is the largest of the large and the smallest of the small. How so? Because he is subtlest. So when something is subtlest, in size, that object is very, very small or not perceivable, but in extension, it is all extending. Right. So in our system, basically what we are doing is we are going on to the unity of everything. Everything, normal thinking is what? We tend to discretize objects. We tend to assign a size from them to them, big, small, smaller, smallest. So ultimately for us, the smallest object will be, we will say it is a very small chunk of a substance, smaller chunks, and then finally to the ultimate smallest chunk, which is the atoms. And then finally that also we divide into the protons, nucleus, and the protons, neutrons and electrons. And then even subtler other, we have discovered so many other particles, right? So neutrinos, positrons, and so on. So all of these represent what we call discretization, making it into discreter or smaller and smaller sized objects, right? But we in Hindu system or in our Indian scientific system, we say everything flows into one common source. So everything attains that state of unity. So just like in science till now, we have discovered space and time as one. So we call them together space time. Why? Because we cannot separate the space that is taken up by an object and the time, because they are always relatively always in flow. So we cannot actually separate in Einsteinian system, in the system of Einstein, the space and time become one. So in our Shastra, space, time, and matter also become one. Everything at the subtlest level, they all become one, and they are indistinguishable, inseparable from each other. So that subtlest knowledge, dharmyam anumetam apya. Apya is I attained, or that person attains. So whoever listens to this knowledge, absorbs it completely, and finally enters into that and makes it his own, that dharmya he attains, he gets this knowledge by this proper process. Then what happens? Samodate modaniyam hi labdhva. He attains the modaniyam, the object that is the source of all joy, modaniyam. And in attaining that, he enjoys. He becomes that joy himself. Right? So that ultimate atma, that ultimate source of joy, is something from which is the source of all joys. Why? Because it is infinite, and something that is infinite has nothing left for it to attain. We saw many times earlier. So that ultimately infinite Atma, when one understands, then that person also who understands, he also attains what we call the state of Anandam, the state of bliss, state of infinite joy. And what is he saying to Nachiketas here? Vivrittam sadma Nachiketa sammanne. So now, for you, Sadma, this house, the doors of this house where this knowledge is available, they are open for you, wide open, vivritam, widely open for you. Why? Because you have the requisite qualities to comprehend or desire or understand this knowledge. So he says you are a very perfectly qualified adhikari. Vivritam sadma nachiketasam manne. I think manne. I assume, or I know, or I think that according to me, the doors of this knowledge are permanently open for you. You are easily qualified to be able to attain this knowledge. So now Nachiketas has heard his praise. He's very, very happy. But he said, please, sir, move on. Let's go on to the knowledge. So he repeats, please continue with the knowledge. You have praised me. That is very fine. So nice of you. But now you also tell me the knowledge now. So this is one of the most famous mantras. It's quoted so many places. It's right. And lot of commentaries. It's there. Lot of places it is mentioned here. So, Sanjay ji, I'll answer your questions at the end of the class. Okay. So, 14th, 14 mantra. Sorry. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra dharmat, anyatra asmat, krita kritat, anyatra bhuta cha bhavya cha, yattat pashyasri tadvada, anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat, अन्यत्र अस्मात् कृता कृतात् अन्यत्र भूता च भव्या च यत्तत् पश्यसि तद्वद. So in essence, Nachiketas here is describing that knowledge itself. He is describing the knowledge which is asking from Dharmaraja, but not in full. It is not in its own fullness or not in its completeness. He is briefly describing maybe what most people who have entered into this study know about it. So he says, you have promised to reveal this knowledge about Atma to me. So please tell me more about it in your own words. What is that knowledge? Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat. So that Atma is separate from dharma, even goodness, and separate from adharma, evil also. So Atma is something where all these dvandvas, all these ups and downs disappear because there is oneness. So there in Atma, good and evil, karma and karma phalam all disappear. Why? Because there is no duality there. No two things are there. So that is why it is said anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat. So we usually for Ishvara, we say Ishvara is all good. Especially in Christianity, they have only this concept. Ishvara is all good. But we have both. We have both. So why? Because we say that the Lord is goodness in the sense of the Lord of the universe, Sagun Brahma. So when Ishvara is taking, when Brahman is taking the role of Ishvara or as the sustainer of this world, then he is Dharma Murti. He is the holder of all the goodness. He will punish the wrongdoers. He will punish anyone doing adharma, and he will uphold it. So whenever he takes avatar, it is said in Gita also. So he will hold up all the different goodness of the world, all the sadhu naams, paritranaya cha sadhu naam, vinashaya cha duskritam, sambhavami yuge yuge. So I take birth again and again in different yugas just to uphold dharma of this world. But that belongs to Ishvara, the holder of the power of the manifest world, the controller of the whole manifest world. That is Ishvara. But what about the ultimate source? The ultimate source is Brahman, Brahma, Atma, whatever we choose to call it. So that is Anyatra Dharmat, Anyatra Adharmat. So there is no duality. And then Anyatra Asmat Krita Akritat. It is different from Krita and Akrita. What are Akrita and Akrit? Krit is something that you can make, you can create with action. Something that you can create with action. And Akrit is something that does not need any action to create. So we can use different words for this. One pair of words is cause and effect. Whatever is the cause. So if mud is the cause and pot is the effect, right? So mud is what we say permanently existing. Of course, when we go back, we can resolve it further and further into the smallest and smallest of particles, and that ultimate particle we will say is the ultimate cause. Right. So we can say matter and its different forms. Huh? So anyatra asmat kritat. It is beyond the laws of cause and effect. Brahman or Atma is beyond the laws of cause and effect. Nachiketas is reminding here. So tell me about that. Tell me about that Atma, which is beyond the laws of cause and effect. Because in cause and effect, we associate each and every object of the world, in fact, right? But where the Atma is concerned, how can there be a cause? Why? Because for a cause and effect, they are two separate things. When the cause is gone, then only the effect will come, right? Or when the cause is modified or hidden, then only the effect will be appearing. So there are two kinds of cause. One is the Upadan Karan, and the other is the Nimitta Karan. So both are different. Uh, but in one Upadan Karan, the material cause, the material remains always, but it converts into something that has different shapes and forms, right? And then the Nimitta Karan, the cause is the maker, the intelligent person. So he will create different objects of the world. So there, the cause is different from the objects. So both of these, it is said here that the Atma is separate from these. Why? Because there is no duality. For that, for cause and effect to exist, there will have to be two separate things, right? So, because there cannot be two separate things, then therefore it is different from Krita and Krit. And then Anyatra Bhutacha Bhavyacha. So this is something that is beyond the past and future. So to that you add present also, right? Or you can say this Atma is ever present. You can say. It is always there, eternally present. So there was never a time when it was not there. So bhut is what bhut basically bhut or past is something that something existed in an earlier time, but it is not there, right? And bhavyat or future is what? Something that will be there in the future, but it is not now. It is not there now, right? But this is something. Atma is what? Anyatra bhutat cha anyatra bhavyat. You add anyatra to both. Anyatra bhutat cha and anyatra bhavyat cha. So this Atma is separate from or other than the past and the future. That means it is ever present, or that means it is beyond the laws of time, beyond the effects of causality. It is beyond, it is not within Kala. It is not within Kala. This Atma is beyond Kala. So why again? Same thing. There is no duality. So when there will be duality, then you can split something, right? We saw this in the same way we proved Sat. Sat, how do we prove that for time to exist, we have to separate it into two parts. One after, one before. So what is that exists between all those smallest to smallest moments of time? That is that Sat or that Atma or the existence principle. So anyatra bhutat anyatra bhavyat is in one way is it means that. Then again it means something that can be born and something that can be that can die. So that is also an understanding of these two words, anyatra bhutat and bhavyat. Something that is can be born or something that will be destroyed or die beyond these two polar extremes. So yat tat pashyasi tat vadaha. So how you see it, how you see that nature of Atma, please tell me tat vadaha. Please narrate to me. Please tell me. So here he is indirectly reminding Yamaraji of the boon. He says, "Thank you so much for your praise." But please help me move on now. Tell me more about this Atma because he is very eager to know it and therefore he wants to reach to the part where he can express it or hear it being expressed. So he says yat tat pashyasi tad vadaha. Whatever you where you perceive it, please describe this to me, right? So now finally he's going to say it. So how much you'll be able to cover it today, let me see. So this is the short description of the nature of Atma. So, सर्वे वेदा यत् पदम् आमनन्ति तपांसि सर्वाणि च यद्वदन्ति यदिच्छन्तो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति तत्ते पदं संग्रहेण ब्रवीमि ॐ इत्येतत् सर्वे वेदा यत् पदम् आमनन्ति तपांसि सर्वाणि च यद्वदन्ति यदिच्छतो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति तत्ते पदम संग्रहेण ब्रवीमि om ityetat. So finally what he says, om iti etat. So what you are looking for is om only. It is om that is everything. It is om that is Atma. It is om that is Brahman. It is om that is the source of everything. So we'll see it later. So this om is what we are going to understand or expand later in understanding of this Atma. So what is this Om? Sarve Veda Yat Padam Amananti. So all the Vedas, they are focusing on describing this main thing only, this main subject only, what is Om. Right? So all the Vedas, their main subject matter is Om only. Padam means in a way it means a step or a motion or movement, but Padam also means a word, right? So that Padam, that Pad is the what we call Om. So Om split into, if we say Akshar wise, A, U and Ma. And then the Nad Bindu or Chandra Bindu or the silence. So that Om is described in all the Vedas, or it is said to be the essence of the Vedas. Right. So you must have heard a lot of places. The essence of the Vedas is the Gayatri Mantra. And the essence of Gayatri Mantra is Om. So that is a very restrictive way of saying it, but yes, once you understand everything that the Vedas have to reveal, then you can like, summarize that knowledge into the Gayatri Mantra, or you can summarize that knowledge into the Mool Adakshar. Om. So that Adakshar, the primal sound, the causal sound of the universe, that is not just a symbol of Brahman, but it is that Brahman itself. So, what is this Yat Padam Amananti? Manan or Amananti, something you constantly chant or repeat. So, the Vedas are constantly revealing it, chanting it, telling about it. And Tapansi Sarvani Cha Yad Vadanti. So, by all tapasyas, this Om is revealed to you, revealed in your heart. So whenever we do any kind of sadhana, any kind of japa, mantra, though there the final source is what Om. Because any mantra you do, finally when you tune into that knowledge, tune into that vibration, what will happen? First you start with the chanting, right? you say Om. First, you just chant vocally Om. आप बोलते हो, है ना? You say it again and again, and so slowly it becomes so fixed in your mind that when you close your eyes, then mentally also you are chanting it. That is the mental chanting, right? The mental chanting goes on, and even without speaking the word, the vibration of it is going on in your mind. But there comes a time when your surrender is complete, when your surrender is total to that highest reality, to that Brahman, to your Maharaji, your Ishwar, your, or whatever your highest conception of reality. Then when your surrender is total, then that Om becomes you, that Om becomes part of you. You close your ears and you constantly hear it. You cannot let go of that sound. Even if you wish it away, it will not go away. It if you are closing your ears, you will hear it. But even whenever you are any moment of awakening, any moment when you are awake, you just turn your intention inward, and that Om will forever be vibrating within you. So that is when the Om has been revealed to you. It has been given to you. That comes through lot of sadhana, lot of internal meditation, and lot of internal revelation. And then Om will speak to you. It will tell you all the secrets of the universe. Whatever knowledge you turn to seek, whatever you focus on, it will start telling you without you needing teacher later on. First you need teacher, but once through intense sadhana, through knowledge of shastras, through study of shastras, once you have done all the basics, then the inner deeper meanings will start to be revealed to you by Om itself. So yat inchanto brahmacharyam charanti. For whenever we desired for that Om to be revealed to us, we go into brahmacharyam. Brahmacharyam is, in a simpler sense, the pratham, the first of the parts of a human, or the Hindu householder. So the first part is brahmacharyam, when he is a student, right? The brahmachari. So there he is controlled by a lot of discipline, brahmachari. But brahmacharyam is not just that. Brahmacharyam is brahma acharanti iti, brahm acharyam iti. So constantly soaked in the knowledge of Brahman. Brahm. I am Brahman, I am Brahm, I am that Atma. That is Brahmacharyam Charanti. So whenever I start practicing uh, internally and externally, that everything is pervaded by Brahman, nothing is separate from that highest entity. So I can harbor no kind of animosity, anger, uh, ill feeling towards any being or anything in the universe. That is Brahmacharyam Charanti. So once we do that, then that Om will slowly be revealed to us. So tatte padam sangrahen bravimi. So that padam, that knowledge I am giving to you in very, very short, in very, very, I am giving you as a summary. What is that? Om iti etat. So Om is that knowledge that I am giving to you. So what is Om? This is revealed in a lot of other Upanishads, lot of other granthas. If some of you find time to read, then look up Pranavvada. So it's by a very famous, very unique person, Pandit Dharmaraj. So who revealed all the different aspects of how Om is manifest in the world. Three books. So when you read there, you will see how beautifully he has captured the essence. And this guy was so unique. He remembered all the spiritual texts he could quote from anywhere. In fact, he is said to have heard the Vedas that were revealed to the Devtas, which contains so many more verses than the Vedas that are revealed to the humans. So a lot of books he has written, a lot of texts he has written. All are not available. Some very few are available now, but his history is mentioned in that book. So this Tatte Padam Sangrahin Brahmi, that Om is what? Om is the whole gamut of the universe, the manifest and the unmanifest. So how? First is or you can say U and Ma, and the Nad Bindu. So A is what? A represents what we call Aksharam, the letter that gives existence to all the other letters. So where in Sanskrit, if you know any letter you write a ma with a dash on in the bottom. That is what we call halant. So actually you cannot pronounce that ma without the a. You have to add that a. So a is something, the sound that manifests everything in the world. So we equate it to in different ways. One way, a, u, and ma we equate to Sat, Chit, Anand. Huh? Existence, consciousness, bliss. Then Av and Ma we also equate to the Jagrit Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Sushupti Avastha. Right? Or we also in the terms of gods, Brahmaji, Vishnuji, Shiva. So all these are again revealed, or they are uh, composed by this Om. So A represents the sound that manifests all sound. Without A, no sound can be manifest. So that represents the whole Jagrit Prapancha, the whole waking universe that you cognize or that you see around you, that is A. So we can go on and on, it's very detailed subject, but the basic concept of it is what? Anything is manifest through vibration, right? So through sound or vibration, everything is manifest. If you take the vibration out of anything, all the substances in the universe will collapse into that ultimate reality. So A represents the sound that brings those objects into manifestation, the vibration that brings it into existence. So when you are in a state of dhyanam, deep meditation, you can actually see how the sound of Om is manifesting each and every object around you. Each and every object has different sounds and different vibrations. Om is manifesting those objects. So when you go inner, you can actually see that. That is what the rishis say, or that is what the different texts say about it, right? So one day it will become our experience. They had this, so one day it will become ours also. We just have to keep trying. So then U represents Utkarshat Api. So it represents consciousness. It represents rising higher. So it represents me giving up this worldly objects and rising to the level of thought, right? The domain of thought. So through thought, all the what we call intents of the world are conveyed. all जितने भी हमारे संकल्प हैं वो विचार के द्वारा कहे जाते हैं. So through thought, I am able to transmit all my sankalpas. So that represents sankalpa which raises me higher or and towards my higher nature. So U represents the raising up higher, and then Ma finally represents Layam. Shiva does what? Destruction, right? So when he opens his third eye, what he said? Everything is destroyed. So that represents the destruction of all desires. Once all desires are gone, then what happens? Nothing is in the world remains. So there, Ma represents the total dissolution, right? So everything that is manifest will ultimately go into dissolution. That is why I said Jagrit, Swapna, and Sushupti. In Sushupti is what? Deep sleep, right? Sushupti is deep sleep. So in deep sleep, everything will merge back into its original source. सब कुछ अपने source में चला जाएगा. And then finally, what the Nad Bindu or the dot or the silence between two ohms, that represents the Nirguna Brahma, the unmanifest or the uh, higher Brahman, or you cannot say higher or lower actually, but you can say that aspect of Brahman where nothing is visible, right? So Nirguna Brahma. So just like the silence is the source or substratum from which all the sounds manifest, right? So that Brahman is, that Nirgun is, can be compared to silence, or the gap between two words. So that silence or that ultimate cessation of all vibrations, all actions or karmas goes into Nirgun Brahma. So it is different from the Layam. In Layam, something is manifest and manifest. But in Nirgun, there is no manifest and manifest. Sorry. So, in short, this is the description of this Om, or this word Om, how it is the substratum or the source of all the manifest and manifest universes. It is in fact Brahma itself. Brahma and Om are indistinguishable, inseparable from each other. Right. So we'll wind up for today now. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Tat Sat.